Okay. Hi, I'm Jessie. I'm not gonna cry. So I'm really just here to introduce my friend Katie, but first I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself and kind of what brought me to her. So about 4 years ago, I graduated from the University of Nebraska with a broadcast journalism degree. And like most 22-year-olds, I moved away from home with no plan and no job. I moved to Kansas City with some friends and took the first real job that was offered to me. It was a sales job in a place called Corporate Woods in Overland Park, Kansas. Sorry. So I was working 8 to 5 at this job, making about 200 to 300 cold calls every day. Everything from my lunch breaks to my bathroom breaks were timed. So needless to say, I was pretty miserable. But at the same time, I had just begun volunteering at a local women's shelter, and I absolutely loved the work and wanted to see if this was a career path for me or if social work was the right field for me. So I wanted to keep doing it, but I also had to pay my rent. So I decided to look into a nanny job, which led me to Katie. And she, at the time, was also looking to replace her current nanny. So she and her husband, Troy, were both stationed in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas at this time. She was a military nurse and a supervisor, and Troy was in a leadership school, also on the military base. So at this time, they had 2 little monsters, the one on the left. Kanan was almost 5, and Finney had just turned 1. And then she was 7 months pregnant with our sweet Arthur on the right. So from day 1, I was amazed by Katie. She was only 25 at the time. She was working 10-hour shifts as a nurse supervisor and was running an all-boy household and also finding time to go camping and hiking with her family on the weekends. So after about a year of working for them, I felt like a part of their family. I was in love with the boys, in love with Katie, but also was feeling that pressure of needing to get a real job and really start my career path. But this brings me to September 7th, 2016. It was a pretty typical day for the boys and I. Arthur, Finn, and I had breakfast, we got our Starbucks, and we went to the library for our Wednesday morning music class. And then at the end of the day, we picked up Kanan from kindergarten and we went to the park. I remember it was a really hot day and Katie had been riding her bike to work that week. And so on the hot days, Troy would pick her up at the end and bring her home. And Katie worked longer hours than Troy did, so I didn't think anything of it when they were running late that day. And then around 6 p.m., I got a phone call from Troy, and at first I thought he was gonna say, you know, we're running late, or we're gonna pick up dinner and we'll be home soon, but then he sounded really panicked. And he said, there's been an accident. I am not gonna be able to come home, and I don't know if Katie ever will. He said, take the boys, do something fun, take them out for ice cream, whatever you need to do, and I will call you when I can. And I said, okay, and all I could muster up was, is everything okay? And he just said, he started to cry, and he said, no, not really, and he hung up. I immediately called my mom and said that something bad had happened to Katie, and that I was afraid there had been a shooting at her health center. And that there was a man that she had told me about who she was afraid of, and I was afraid that he had come to work and he had shot her. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to my friend Katie Blanchard.
Hi, thank you. Can everybody hear me?
Oh.
So, thank you very much, Jess. Jess was amazing, helped for me during all of this. And like she said, I had experienced workplace violence. For 8 months, I worked with an employee who was having not only performance issues, but also behavioral issues. He wasn't meeting the standard. And when I asked him to meet the standard, when I went through the protocol, what I got was violence. I got harassment, bullying, yelling, screaming at myself and at patients. I was scared. I had asked my supervisors to help me. I documented everything, went through the So I went through all the protocol, right? And my supervisors decided that they were going to do it, that they were going to allow this violence to continue, because it wasn't necessarily physical violence at the time. I went to my supervisor 2 weeks before the attack, and I sat down with my leadership and said, "He's going to kill me. I don't feel safe. Please help me." And their response to my pile of memorandums and my patient complaints and my fear and the tears in my eyes was, "Come to me with facts, not emotions." So I went back to what I had to do as an Army officer, and I went to work again and again in that toxic environment. This is me on September 7th, 2016. My coworker that day had been violent with me in the morning. I remember coming in and just thinking to myself, it can't get any worse. I'd gone to my supervisor again and said, "I think we're at a breaking point." That night, after everybody had left, he came in to my office as I had closed it down and was ready to go home to my children and to see Jess, and he doused me with gasoline. He threw 2 lit matches at me, and right away, I didn't think that I was going to make it out of that room. From the waist up, I was on fire. Luckily that day, 2 of the staff members, 2 doctors, had been where I worked was pediatrics, right? You don't think that something like that would ever happen in a hospital unless pediatrics. Those doctors came and they put me out, and as they tried to, my attacker came back. He came back this time with a box cutter and a scissors, and slit my throat, stabbed me, and stomped on me. They were able to grab him and bring him down, and I sat there and he just kept screaming. You knew this was going to happen. All of the warning signs were there, and nobody protected me. Over and over, you knew this was going to happen. That day I survived, but only because I had 3 angels looking out for me. The 2 doctors that put me out and saved me and protected me from my attacker as he was stabbing at me, and the one sergeant who had come barely down the hallway to grab him. After the attack, I learned I had 20% total body surface area burns. I'm a nurse. I had a BSN. I was an Army officer. All of that would change. I no longer could serve in the military that I had planned on serving for the rest of my life. I could no longer be a bedside nurse. So I had to have a new plan, right? Not only was all of this going on, I was in an incredible amount of pain. I had 3 little boys that Jessie had moved down to Texas with, and she was mom, and I was sitting in a hospital. I was recovering, and I just kept thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Why did this happen to me? And the answer that I found was, you have to do something with it. So as soon as I was able to, as soon as the pain subsided and I didn't have to wear the garments, and I had gone through some of my major surgeries, I went back to school. I thought advocacy, workplace violence prevention is what I wanted to do. People like you here today helped that dream come true. They led me back to school, helped me through the process. I'm attending the University of Washington, and I'm in their Master's of Nursing program right now. It was a really long road to recovery, and there's been a lot of bumps on the way. But having that idea that I'm going to do something with this, my education is going to help me tell my story, and I'll be able to affect more people, and I'll be able to help prevent violence in the future. That's what education has given me. I'm continuing my education in the PhD program, starting in the fall at the University of Washington. So, people like you make that happen. And I know that you guys get people and probably love that stories, right? You probably hear a lot of different things. But you guys are making those people's dream come true. You're helping them advocate for everything. And that education is really a base for us to tell our stories and to use our experiences, even the violent ones, even the ones that are hard to talk about. You're helping us bring those stories and make a difference.